You can support this podcast by going through our affiliate links to purchase great products. Look in the video description to find all of our current affiliate links. Thank you in advance for helping us to grow our podcast.
Smacking Off the Podcast would like to invite you to stream the podcast weekly at one of our streaming platforms. You can find us at facebook.com/smackology. Also at the Smacking Off the Podcast Facebook page, just search it on Facebook. You can also find our latest podcast episodes at youtube.com/c/smacking off the podcast. Tune in each Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for a new episode.
Smacking Off the Podcast.
And welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Madden. I'm joined with Doug Phillips, my co-host and producer. What's going on, Doug?
Oh, not much. Just thinking about some SEC football.
There's a lot of that going on. And we're going to talk about the big, giant, huge, swinging brass balls of Greg Sankey and the iron fist that he now rules in college football. Yeah, we got a great season coming up. I don't know about you. I hope to hell that the COVID doesn't get it.
True. All right, so we're joined tonight by Nikki Mays.
Hello.
We're joined by Walter Bryan, Dr. Balls,
What's up?
and Sean Devine.
Hey, how we doing?
Y'all ready to talk some SEC football?
Let's do it.
I think SEC football this year is more interesting than it typically is because Alabama's got a new starting quarterback. You don't know what's going to happen with that. You've got Georgia, who is, they're off the charts as far as on paper they are. And you got Florida, who is probably capable.
Real quick question. Who is the returning quarterback in the SEC? I mean, I can think of one, but there really aren't many. Bo Nix is coming back, but I mean, just about
Matt
everybody else.
Corral.
Kind of
Miss-
J.T. Daniels, I guess.
Yeah,
Bozolak.
Miss.
Yeah,
Todd
J.T.
Bozolak.
Daniels.
I guess
Matt Corral.
I guess you would say that Matt Corral would be your first team,
Yeah.
your first team quarterback if we were doing an all SEC list.
And Emory Jones, I mean, he's been with Florida for a few years now. He's him as their starter. So.
Bozolak had a
Yeah.
good season at Missouri last year, and he's primed to have another good one this year. And so everybody overlooks him, but he was one of the SEC leaders in passing last year, and he's back this year. Of course, he didn't put up the gaudy numbers that Matt Corral did, but he's not in the same scheme either. But it's a real interesting scheme. I think Missouri's improved team, and you've got a seasoned quarterback that already knows the system. That gives them some advantages. Of course, they're not going to they could beat Florida. I don't think they'll beat Georgia.
Robert, who's starting for Kentucky? Because I see that you let Joey Gatewood find his way to UCF.
Well, he transferred after Will Levis was named the starter. They decided to go ahead and name the starter to give Gatewood a chance to retire. Not retire, but to transfer, and so that he'd fit in under the rules, and he'd be able to enroll in another school this year, which could get him on the field next year. Which he went to UCF. Gatewood went to UCF. Now, Will Levis, there was some kind of big-time NFL mechanics guy that worked with him all summer. I should know the name, because I've been hearing it in and out. Forget what his name was, but he worked with him, and the guys come out. He's got a big arm, huge arm, and I guess that's what won the battle. And then we're backed up. There's lots of quarterbacks in Kentucky, unlike 2 years ago and last year. There's lots of quarterbacks in Kentucky. Now there's a couple of them that could actually play behind him, so I don't think it hurt us at all to lose Gatewood. And they're going to run the Rams, Sean McVay style offense, and they're going to go to outside zone as they were previously on inside zones. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, back to Missouri, but I think
Speaking of the
Missouri
Rams, not to
could
get
do
sidetracked,
okay
but
if they have an offensive line and stay healthy. That was their issue last
well,
year.
what do you call okay? Like fourth in the East?
Like, maybe.
Is that what,
The way I see it is, whoever wins,
you got Georgia, Florida, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like that was their issue last year. They would win a few good games, and then their offensive line completely would shut down on them, and then they got hurt or COVID took over. They couldn't play at all.
Well,
I mean,
Florida,
they have a pretty decent quarterback, so I think if they stay healthy, they'll do all right.
The best thing they ever did was get rid of their head coach, Barry Odom, before last season. And I do think they're trending upward. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Missouri finished third last year in the East.
Finished third last year?
Yes, finished third in the East.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Drankwitz says that program headed in the right direction. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but maybe
I think
the following year.
I think Missouri's always teetering. They're always teetering on becoming a relevant team in the SEC.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I feel like, teetering is a perfect word because I feel like they could be in the top half of the division or they could certainly be in the bottom half of the division.
The reason it's interesting is this year Florida is everybody's new on offense. They've lost a lot of players on defense. They've got a couple of top players in the country, though, on defense, especially at cornerback. But in general, they're vulnerable. In terms of when teams like this are rarely vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
So teams like UK and Missouri, right, if they're like UK is nothing but depth, but there isn't any one player other than maybe Wandale Robinson that really excites you. But Missouri has some players like Bozilak, but I don't believe they have much depth. This is the only chance they get to beat teams like Florida. If Florida beats them, these teams will never beat Florida, right? Same thing with Alabama. You're talking about Texas A&M. Texas A&M, everybody wants them to live the same script they did in the Big 12, which is that they're destined to lose and they'll never beat the big powers. Well, they're in the SEC. If they and they've recruited accordingly, and they've only got so much time. If he don't win this year versus Alabama, he never will.
I think the Aggie, talking about them, that's 10 years ago. I mean, they're firmly entrenched in the SEC now. I mean, it's going to be for them getting a quarterback. As much as Mond was there for a long time. I know he got drafted, but I don't think anybody was ever sold on Mond getting them to the next level. At least I wasn't. No.
He was a solid quarterback, but he wasn't a game winner on his own. He had to be part of an overall system of offense and defense to control the clock. They just didn't have a world-winning quarterback, and I don't really know anything about this guy other than they say they're high on him.
Yeah, but Mond also wasn't a Jimbo-type quarterback.
Right.
So he gets a quarterback, his style quarterback. I think that they actually have a chance.
I mean, when Jimbo won the national title, he had Jameis, who was a 5-star first. He was the overall number one pick in the draft. So Mond was, I think, a 3rd-round guy or a 4th-round guy. Yeah. So if this kid's all he's cracked up to be, maybe A&M will shake it up a little in the West. But I still think Alabama's the team to beat in the West.
I hate to state the obvious, but
I mean that's every year.
And the one thing they're not talking about with Alabama is all that defense that was young last year that got playing time is back, basically. And that defense is going to be back at what I would call a Saban level. At least that's my expectation.
The defense is nasty. And 2 constants at Alabama are an offensive line and a running back that will just drag you. And they've got that again this year, too.
I would say they definitely have the running back. That's for sure. That kid's a stud.
Yeah, and then I think Bryce Young. Personally, Bryce Young is my early Heisman favorite. I haven't even seen the kid move the chains yet, but I'm telling you, with weapons around him and the protection he has, and Brian Robinson toting the ball for him, I mean, I don't see how Bryce Young can fail.
Alabama's division to lose for sure with what they have on paper coming back, even with Young being, a first-year starter. There's so much weaponry there that he doesn't have to win the games himself. He can rely on some of those other moving parts and pieces.
My money's still on Brian Robinson, though. To me, he reminds me so much of Josh Jacobs.
Got the 24/7 All SEC list.
Oh, okay.
In front of me. I mean, it's not.
I've actually read that.
So I'm looking through this and I'm recognizing some names, and they're saying here that Tennessee has a good kickoff return man. Velas Johns. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I think that's correct.
Let me tell you, Auburn has that shit covered with Sean Shivers and Tank Dixon returning kickoffs. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, Auburn. Tank Bigsby's going to be a beast this year, and most of the list I see talking about all SEC running backs, all of them include Chris Rodriguez, who led the league in yards per carry against stacked boxes all last year. He missed 2 games due to COVID and ran for in 8 games. He ran for over 700 yards and something like 12, 13 touchdowns, and he's running behind Kentucky. Yeah, he's running behind Kentucky's offensive line, which is, in my opinion, on par with Alabama's and better than Georgia's. And they, especially since they added Darren Rosenthal, all they got to do. Listen, these guys. All Kentucky has to do is pass for 2,500 yards this year, and it means it changes their whole program. If they just pass for 2,500 yards, if they have any offense whatsoever on top of the running game there, it puts them second in the East this year. If they don't, if all they do is run the football and they have the same shit success passing the football they've had the last 2 or 3, 4, 5, no, actually the last decent quarterback was Steven Johnson in 2016. So when's
Kentucky going to switch to the single wing?
Single wing, that's what they should do. They've done that. That's basically what they ran. When they had Bowden, they basically ran the single wing and they were 6-2. They should. So I would love to see it.
I would too, because with 1 week to prepare for just single wing, that's a hell of a challenge for a defense. Because now you're playing 11-on-11 football.
Lynn Bowden Jr. under that scheme ran for 1,800 yards in 8 games.
Yeah, that's insane. The only team doing that is generally like Navy and Army because they play, they still play the veer and the wishbone and all that. But,
so you can't beat the main programs like Alabama like that, though. See, that's where Kentucky's really at, right? Until they get a real quarterback, they'll never be in the next tier of the SEC because you can beat all the rest of the teams, but Alabama and maybe Georgia with that, just by slowing the clock down, controlling the ball, making the other team nervous. But you're not going to make Nick Saban nervous, and if somebody gets out there who's going to cause turnovers and stuff, he's going to bench him, just like Tua and Jalen Hurts, right? So that's why they can't move.
They have the depth on defense at linebacker and D-line to just shuttle in guys that can clog up that running game.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think the other teams in the East and some of the other games they play against the West, you're playing that single wing. With 1 week to prepare. I mean, look out. That's a problem.
What I'm seeing, and I've seen a little bit of practice, is they're basically running what the Broncos running, like between 98 and 2000. That zone read, zone run, outside zone run, with the pulling guard, lots of activity among the guards, tackles, stuff like that. That's what they're going to be running, and they're going to run play action off that. That's the whole season for the whole SEC East, other than maybe Georgia, which is going to be the Kentucky Georgia game is a big deal. If they make that offense work and Florida's on a down year, it changes the whole race. If they don't, they're just another mediocre year for Kentucky, and them and Missouri will occupy the middle of the SEC East.
Have we discussed at any lengths Oklahoma coming to the SEC?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah, that's coming because that's a huge them and Texas. That is a huge part of this the season going forward because this is the last of the old guard SEC. I mean, this is crazy. This is we're actually standing in the middle of the end of an era.
Well, that's why it's important that schools like Florida are vulnerable. And
things are going to change like crazy next year for sure with the addition, and we still haven't. I don't think seen, and I agree with Doug. I think it's going to be 4 14 pods. To me, it seems it has to be that.
That's the easiest way to schedule.
Well, and again, that's the easiest way to schedule. But you and I both know that there's never been any sort of sensible solution to any problem without going all the way completely around it. In dealing with the NCAA and the SEC and the conferences as a whole. Do you think it would really be? Do you think there would be any kind of drop off as far as let's try to do this the old way and split it down the middle, eight on this side, 8 on that side, or do you think that they'll just go ahead and run straight towards that solution?
The NCAA, what's that? Who are they?
Well,
What
yeah,
do they control?
They don't control anything, or they'll have no say in this whatsoever. But I mean, do you think that the SEC is going to go ahead and immediately see the sense in that?
No.
I like that idea. I like the two. I like it split down the middle, but I think there's so many teams you'd only see certain other teams like once every 5 years, and it's kind of like that now. But I'd rather sit where there was like 7 teams that you played every year, and then a 9-game SEC schedule, and rotate
We
3
got
guys in.
spoiled last year. I mean, really, that's what that boils down to. We got spoiled with that all SEC schedule, or at least a predominantly SEC schedule. That was fun to watch. I'm sorry, I just was. I don't mean to sound like a homer there, but there were some exciting matchups that came out of that week in and week out.
Every 5.
Repeat that again because you cut out a little bit.
I just heard Georgia, and I don't care to hear any of that again. So I'm a little.
Whatever kind of he and the television partner decides is the best, module, whether it's the 14 pods or 2 divisions of 8, he's going to figure it out. So whatever's best for TV, which I hate to say that, but I think the 14
I like the
pods.
way you phrase that, though, Sean, because I mean, really, the ball's on Greg Sankey these days. I mean, is there any other conference commissioner whose balls swing more than Greg Sankey right now?
Well, he's the Godfather. He's the Don. He makes decisions that matter, and whatever's best for TV, because TV drives everything. I think it's got to be the pods, because if you're Robert, you're at Kentucky, like, you don't want to be seeing one team every 5 years. I mean, I think that sucks, but I think you definitely have to go to a 9-game conference schedule at this point.
What you're going to see pretty soon, you're going to see some really, because the technology will now exist, you're going to see cameras at every single game of every single SEC school. And, there's a very, very devoted fan base for all of these schools that can buy their season package from ESPN that's going to have cameras there and make sure that every single game is televised. So even the Kentucky versus Furman, you're still going to be able to have and the pay-per-view model was nice, but now with the technology, we can get very specific with it.
Well, I don't mean like so much like that. I mean just the welcoming a different fan base to your stadium more than just once every 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I think what I'm hinting at, though, is the fact that, games being broadcast on a singular network, those days are at a close. We're seeing already, I'm able to sit and watch on any average Saturday 5 or 6 games that happen to be televised at once on all these different devices in my house. I don't even have to leave the house and go to the sports bar to do it anymore.
Well, now you have Sling and you have
YouTube
every
TV.
other thing. Yeah,
No.
you can watch every single one of them.
Yeah, don't mention those. Let's just.
Oh, sorry.
The only ones we want to mention is VidGo.
VidGo.
VidGo,
You can watch
yeah.
VidGo.
Watch
And if
all
you're
your
going
games.
old school, go Dish Network.
Yeah,
And Dish
Dish
Network,
Network. Yeah, you can watch those too, and you can watch all of them.
Now, wait a minute. Have we picked up a sponsorship that I didn't know about? Because, man, we're really pushing some items hard here, and I have not seen Paycheck One. So
It's just affiliations. We can't call it a sponsor because we say too much crazy shit on here to make that claim. Once they hear that we're saying that they're our sponsor, they're going to be like, "Fuck that shit." Take our shit.
The only people we're sponsored by is Facebook. The good fine folks at Facebook, some of the finest American technology.
I don't think we
man.
could be sponsored because they would bleep you guys every other word and no one would be able to listen to us.
I'm trying to be cool. I'm being cool, man. I'm actually trying to make them some money. So y'all just let me do my thing, please.
Hey, Shannon, I'd like to go back to the Oklahoma and Texas join the conference and what it really means. And back to the TV that you were talking about. What it really means is that mid-tier teams are going to have their games played on somewhere you have to search for them on some random part of the SEC network, and that everybody else is going to have the premier games. You're going to have to search for your game. And yes, it'll be televised, but you ain't going to be able to find it. And the second thing is,
Bob, that's going to be on Jefferson Pilot, just so we know.
Oh yeah, I love.
And I think we're going to start seeing more Wednesday and Thursday night games.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know about Wednesday night. Maybe Thursday night.
We'll see some Wednesday night games. What you talking about, man?
I think anybody in the SEC ball.
I think you'll see.
Maybe after a bye week.
See Thursday night, Friday night, and then the usual Saturday slate.
We seen some Wednesday night games. What was it? 2 years ago, Oklahoma played Wednesday night.
Do you know why we'll see more Wednesday night games? And I'm going to just throw this out there because they're going to throw anything. They can throw anything up on a Wednesday night during college football season, and we'll watch it. Come on now.
Well,
and the only reason I bring this up is because we have already set a precedent when we started watching these shitty bowl games because there was nothing else on.
Because of COVID last year, we had football, baseball, hockey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I think it would be awesome to have it every night of the week.
Well, everything else declined ratings-wise other than college football, if you remember. Even the NFL was down a little bit in ratings, but college football prospered ratings-wise, and I'm sure they've seen it. It's just almost like hair metal, right? So after real metal came out in the early 80s with Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and all that, the record companies seen it and they misinterpreted it and put out the hair bands, right? So that's exactly what's going to happen with college football. They're going to think that Jackson State versus Mississippi Valley is what you want, and you're going to see it on Wednesday.
And you know what? I'll watch it.
Coming in with the Judas Priest, man.
And I'll watch it.
There you go.
You tell me you won't watch it?
But do you agree with that, Shannon, though, that the legitimate metal came out in the early 80s? They misinterpreted the success of it and came out with Poison. You know what I'm saying? And they rammed it on our face.
Now, of course, I'm also a late 70s metal fan, too. You know?
Oh, yeah, Rainbow, baby.
You already know. Dio.
I mean, Nikki's not wrong. I mean, if there's a game on, we're going to watch.
We're going to watch it.
I just don't see when.
I'm watching Wednesday night football. It's going down.
I just think it's going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I do. I mean, Wednesday. I mean, the coaches are going to have a say in preparation. So I mean, that's a short turnaround time. I mean, Wednesday, if you play, I mean, it'd have to be, as Walter said, after a bye week or something.
You don't think for a second that there won't be a UCF or a second tier mid-level team that wouldn't jump at the chance to be the only college football game on that evening? Yeah, come on. It's going down.
I was
Wednesday
speaking
night
SEC.
football. You heard it here first. Nikki Mays said Wednesday night football's happening. It's fucking happening.
Well, that's what we saw. I think it was the year before last. We saw it was, Division II or Division. I don't remember what it was, but we saw like Stephen F. Austin and Tarleton before they became D1, and small schools.
Hey, Shannon, Nick Saban ain't playing on a fucking weekday unless it's Monday in January.
I didn't say Alabama was playing on a Wednesday. Come on now.
Saban will if Jerry Jones is calling. Come on.
Saban will be the last one in the SEC to play on the weekday.
Saban, he is allowed to pick whatever schedule suits him. He has a personal hotline to Greg Sankey, to the folks down at ESPN, CBS, if they feel so inclined. I mean, really, this is Saban's game, dude. I don't even know why we're supposed to be talking about SEC football. Yeah, we're supposed to talk about SEC football tonight, and y'all already know who's going to win the national championship, the SEC championship, every single fucking game that they play in, and that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Thank you.
I know we're not dumb.
But if Oklahoma and Texas come to the conference, this year right here is the year where those mid-level teams that think they're rising have to do something. Because after that, they're not going to do nothing. If you put Kentucky in the same division, if there's two divisions, you put them in the same division as Oklahoma and Auburn and Alabama, which is one of the proposals, well, Kentucky will consistently be the fifth best team in that division no matter whatever happens. Maybe fourth, no matter how good they recruit or whatever. The advantages are so big. And then you got the script, right? See, everybody forgets about the script of college football. I've been watching this stuff all my life, right? Mm-hmm. There's never any real upsets, just every now and then to make you believe. There's a script that says these big teams are going to win and nobody else can get in it. And when you condense all the big teams into one conference, then all the people that have no hope truly have no hope.
All right, now that we brought up Auburn and we brought up have no hope, Walter Bryan, let's talk about the fact that your coach does not want to get the vaccine. Can we talk about that? Because that's very hot news here on AL.com.
Fuck you, Shannon.
I'm sorry, he didn't get the vaccine. I just wanted to talk about that. Because I don't know if you've read this, there is a scathing, an absolutely scathing opinion piece in AL.com about Harsin and the fact that he completely, utterly failed the Auburn program by not getting the vaccine and getting the COVID and not.
I don't agree with that's his choice. I'm not an anti-vaxxer myself. He is in a very important role, so, we don't.
Does he have
we
COVID
need him
right
on the
now?
side. Last week, he tested positive.
Don't worry about that. He had the COVID for a little while. He did not get the vaccine. Has not been on record for getting the vaccine, and has kind of.
But people with the vaccine are testing positive. So this is true.
It's like about 20% of your positive cases right now in the state of Alabama are vaccinated people.
They said on Feinbaum that Harrison at Auburn was out due to COVID protocols because he'd had it, and he's having to coach by TV. That's what they said on Feinbaum.
I don't think, and don't quote me on this, but I don't think he's tested negative yet. He tested positive about a week ago.
Well, he'll take. He's 14 days after your first negative test, or 14 days after your first positive test, when you begin to test. Positive.
You got to have 2 negatives in order to be cleared.
Okay.
And it has to be 24 hours after your second.
Yeah, so they're testing him like every 15 minutes. They're probably testing him every 15 minutes to see when he doesn't have the COVID anymore.
Well, quote me on this. He'll be there for the kickoff. He'll be there week 1. Don't worry about that.
So who's a bigger genius, him or Cam Newton?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that's a good question.
What about Cam Newton?
Cam Newton violated the COVID protocols, and they just put him off the team for 5 days. Not off the team, he couldn't practice for 5 days because he didn't go to an approved testing center of the NFL under the contract in the NFL Players Association. So they put him off, and they give Mac Jones all kinds of extra reps. So because of Cam Newton not refusing to take the vaccine, he was out. And getting tested at the wrong place, he was out for 5 days of practice where Mac Jones got all.
Doesn't matter where you get tested.
Let me say this though, because I know there's some Mac Jones fans listening. The NFL is still a little too big for Mac Jones. I don't care if he starts week 1. I don't expect great success.
I'm a Mac Jones fan.
Walter Bryan with the Mac Jones hate. I love it.
Fuck you, Walt, guys. Let's talk about some SEC football before we run out of time.
What about Georgia and Clemson? What do y'all think's going to happen there?
I think Clemson.
I think Clemson's going to win that game.
I hate Georgia, but I actually think Georgia might pull it out.
I like JT Daniels. Not develop talent. We're seeing this right now.
I know. I can't stand him, but I actually think they can.
I like JT Daniels. I hate Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
DJ Uiagalelei against JT Daniels. I'll take Uiagalelei. And they got Ross back at receiver, which is huge.
And last year, everybody said they had no linebackers. Well, all the linebackers they didn't have last year are back at Clemson, so maybe they learned something.
They've got probably one of the best D tackles in the country in Brian Brzee.
Oh, yeah.
So I like Clemson in a close one.
I think that's right.
I don't think it's going to be that close. I really, I think it's going to be all Clemson all the time. I don't know. Clemson has shown their ability to be able to reload and also be prepared for, there has been a surprise here and there. Wake Forest. And
don't forget, this is a big moment in which Clemson has prevailed and Georgia has always Georgia.
That's kind of, I mean, Georgia has struggled in these big games with under Kirby Smart. And I mean, I don't know. It sucks for Georgia fans because Georgia has just somewhat slightly better than Mark Richt, but it's, again, still yielding the same results.
Hey, they got a really good team. I'm not going to bullshit Georgia fans. They're loaded. I mean, this could be their year.
They have been loaded. They have been loaded. It's been their year for the past several years now. Have you seen the recruiting classes since Kirby Smart's been there? That's been amazing. And he's just not been able to punch it in, nor has he been able to completely develop the talent for him to be able to complete at that next level. I'm sorry, man. I think it's going to be Clemson all day.
That's
what doesn't make or break Georgia.
No.
Okay, so if Georgia loses,
in the big
does it make or break them?
In the big game, it does. Not, but, it has how many times out of how many times here in the past few years? They really needed to win.
We need to give credence to the fact that Georgia doesn't need this game and Clemson does, so the pressure is on Clemson because Georgia can lose that game, and if they win the East, they're in the SEC championship game, and then all bets are off. It's so
that weak ass
Georgia
ACC
loses,
schedule, man. Don't bite them.
Right. So other than the Georgia game, Clemson's schedule is soft, pudding.
That's what I've been trying to tell people. If Clemson loses to Georgia, they could be in trouble depending on what all the other teams do because they're not going to have a redemption moment after that.
No. Whereas Georgia, if they lose, people will write them off. They'll drop down, to like 18 or 19 in the country. They'll start slowly working their way back up, win the East, and they're in Atlanta. And then they can get to the playoff if they were to win that game, which they
I can see that.
so far yet to do.
What do you think, Walter?
I think Florida's got some talent too. It depends on how well Emory Jones plays.
That's what I need to see.
I would say Florida's always got talent.
They got wide receivers and defensive backs and defensive line that are
I
top
need to
notch.
see
They got
how
linebackers
Jones is.
too. Their linebackers are good.
You got Daquan Newkirk from Auburn. Remember that name, Daquan Newkirk. He's a stud. He's going to make an impact on your defensive line.
Yeah.
Florida has two of the best corners in the country, K.R. Elam and what was the other boy's name? They have another corner that's top 25 in the country. I mean, they that's where their strength really is. But I don't think they're going to do anything on offense. They're replacing everybody. You don't have some kind of miraculous scheme. I believe they got great talent, but they're not as loaded as Alabama and Georgia. So Florida, in my opinion, would be lucky to be 8-4.
We don't have to be as loaded as Georgia.
Nikki, can we get a guarantee that no Florida player is going to throw a shoe this year?
No, I won't guarantee that. I will not guarantee that. And I
no
hope.
Guarantees.
I hope. I'm not going to guarantee that. I'm just not going to.
I mean, I think
this is Florida we're talking about, okay?
That's got to be a prop bet somewhere. Will a Florida player throw a shoe this year and give you out?
Well, we can say, Marco is gone. Marco's gone.
We're definitely going to ask him that question if there are odds that any Florida player is going to throw a shoe this year. What those odds are.
There has to be some type of odds. We're Florida. That's
Florida man's a real thing.
Yeah,
yeah. You know what I'd take the bet on? The over under on whether or not Matt Corral will pass for 4,500 yards.
Over.
I'll take the over on that.
Over, because Ole Miss can't run the ball.
He has to pass.
Numbers. Yeah.
So are we seeing the East as a 2-team race, or Florida's
I think it's a sneaky 3-team race. I think the game that really will just decide is Kentucky Florida. I think Kentucky's going to come into that game riled and ready to go, and Florida better not sleep on them. So I think it could be a 3-team race.
What about Tennessee? I'm hearing it's their year.
No.
Hey,
no.
I do think Tennessee improves. I honestly do.
Oh, I do too.
Okay.
They have to. They were 3-7 last year.
Oh yeah, there's nowhere but up for those guys.
I was just making sure.
I like their coaching hire, and they got the Milton kid from Michigan, who I think is projected to be their starter at quarterback. Who's actually seeding another 5-star in Harrison Bailey. So
did you watch Michigan's offense?
Yeah, he was horrible last year. He was not.
But he was under the nose picker. Come on.
Yeah, it's fucking Michigan.
Yeah, but
it was horrible.
He was overthrowing receivers that were wide open.
More
than like 10 yards.
What about Arkansas? I think they're going to be a lot better.
So we move into the West. Okay, so Arkansas is not going to win the West. I will put $1,000 on it.
Oh yeah. Oh
no.
Nobody has brought up. Whoa! Let's back up for a second because nobody has brought up Vanderbilt nor Missouri.
We talked about Missouri.
Well, we talked about Missouri earlier.
Oh, okay.
And we feel like that they could, do better this year with a healthier team and a stronger offensive line.
We'll talk Vanderbilt real quick. Sam.
Good job.
Vanderbilt went 0-9 last year in the SEC. They win one game this year. I don't know against who, but they win one game.
Oh my God!
So
Missouri.
they're making an improvement.
Okay, we can move on. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure everybody was included. You know, it's
They
2021.
beat
We have to
Georgia.
include everybody.
I think they beat South Carolina.
They beat Georgia.
I'm going out on a
Here's
limb.
how Vanderbilt. Okay, go out on the list.
I've got Vanderbilt beating Tennessee.
I got Vanderbilt beating Georgia.
Ooh.
Here's what I'm worried about. Since we're talking about Vanderbilt.
On that. Great odds.
Since we're talking about.
I think Vanderbilt made a great hire in Clark Lee. He's an alum. He was a great D coordinator at Notre Dame. I think he improves them. I don't think he gets them to James Franklin level, but I think in 3 or 4 years he gets them to somewhat respectable, where he's competing with South Carolina, Tennessee, and Missouri in that division.
Still hear the crazy prediction I heard in the Athletic today?
Yeah.
They predicted that Kentucky would be in the either the Citrus Bowl or the bowl above it. The one that you're not in the CFP, but you're right next. Whatever bowl is left over out of the CFP.
Outback Bowl or something.
Or anyway, against Penn State, beat Penn State, and that Penn State would hire Mark Stoops.
Huh?
That's what they said. That sounded crazy, but that's what they predicted today in the Athletic, right? That they would put the UK.
Who said that? Stuart Mandel. Are we listening to Stuart Mandel? Come on.
What kind of drugs are they doing over at the Atlantic? That's our next discussion here on Smacking Off the Podcast.
Walter, give us a rundown on the West.
Well, the rankings I saw have Texas A&M second in the West.
Bullshit.
Ole Miss was actually third, and Auburn was fourth. And I think you guys know who number one is. And honestly, I mean, the West is a runaway train with Alabama. It is. I'm just going to be honest. The talent on that roster is unbelievable.
Does anybody see anybody challenging Alabama? Whoever it is, let's hear about it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for the division or winning a game against.
Sing for the division.
See, I don't think anybody the division, but I think Ole Miss is sneaky, and you got to watch out for them.
That's the game I see too. That Alabama can lose is against Ole Miss, right? It won't mean anything. The results will still be the same for everybody at the end of the year, but they could lose that game.
Hey, Doug.
Yeah.
Quick question: how many games has Saban lost against any of his assistants?
None.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that streak continue.
Okay, so let me go ahead and sum this up. It looks like we've got Alabama versus Georgia or Florida or possibly Kentucky.
That's what I got.
I agree with that.
I'm going to let everybody go back to what they're doing, and we got to call President Pike.
I'm going to bed.
Right. Great to see you guys.
All right, then. I got to go back to work. See you guys.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Be sure to purchase Nick's Sweet Home Sabin sauce by following our Amazon affiliate link in the video description. By doing so, you will help to support and grow this podcast.
Stream it like a pro with VidGo. 95 plus channels, $10 for the first month, and only $55 a month after that. Go to smackology.life/VidGo to order VidGo today. VidGo TV is compatible with Amazon Fire TV devices, Apple TV, Android phones and tablets, Android smart TVs, Apple phones and tablets, Roku streaming devices, and web browsers on laptops and PCs.
They've won the biggest championship, and that's a championship of life.
The Pre-Season Life Championship Top 10 is brought to you by
Bad Month Tires. Guaranteed for the first 48 hours, but then you're on your own. Also by Doyle Hargrave Construction. He ain't fucking around, he gets shit done. Quality craftsmanship at an affordable price.
Here's your Life 10 for this week. Number 10, the Miami Hurricanes. Number 9, the Southern California Royals. Number 8, the Auburn Tigers. Number 7, the Florida Gators. Number 6, the LSU Tigers. Number 5, the Tennessee Volunteers. Number 4, the Michigan Wolverines. Number 3, the Georgia Bulldogs. Number 2, the Texas A&M Aggies. And the number 1 team is the Texas Longhorn. Here's our 2021 Life Championship winners: Justin Bieber, Jerry Lewis, Dr. Boss, Kyle Golly, Mike Gibbs, Alex Bryan, and Jay Pierce. Let's thank them for so selflessly taking time out of their busy schedule to give their opinions. Please direct all anger directly at them.
Pike's predictions.
And welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Madden. I'm joined with Doug Phillips, my co-host and producer, and we are joined on the line with one, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Hold on to your seats, President Justin Pike!
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, dude?
This is disappointing.
What happened?
I don't know. This is this whole thing right here with the SEC football. And the fact that Auburn has the COVID.
Oh, the whole team has COVID?
No, the what's his name? I can't even remember the coach's name there. Harsin. He has the COVID, and everybody's very disappointed with him. He's leading the team into doom by not getting the vaccine. And I don't know. I think you have some feelings on that.
What is up with all these people that don't want to get the vaccine? I just don't understand it.
Well, I mean, you got the vaccine, right?
Yeah, I got Pfizer, and it just got FDA approved. Like, I don't understand why people.
Did you get the Pfizer vaccine, or did they tell you which vaccine you get when you go get your vaccine, or
you get to pick which one?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So luckily, I did get Pfizer, and my arm hurt for like a day, and I slept kind of funny. Like I couldn't sleep on my side because I'm a side sleeper.
I am too.
It was on my left arm, so I just couldn't sleep on my left side for a night. You know what I mean? And then
that's not horrible.
Second shot just made me tired. I just went home, took a long nap, and that was it. Woke up, felt fine.
Did you get 5G?
What do you mean?
When you got the vaccine, you're supposed to get like 5G, and then you get there's something about Bill Gates.
Oh, people think like they're tracking them and stuff like that.
So good. So you are confirming though that Bill Gates is tracking people with the vaccine. That you heard it here first, Justin Pike. Bill Gates is tracking people with the vaccine.
I'm gonna meme.
Probably what they think.
I'm memeing that later.
No, there's a lot of people that think that honestly the whole point of the vaccine is because so the government can track where you're going.
The government can already track where you're going.
Yeah, I got it. I got the government tracking device in my hand right now.
Absolutely,
my cell phone. Yeah.
This ain't some new development. It cracks me up when people are like, "Man, I don't want to get a Google Home because I don't need the government listening to me." But they got a cell phone, so it's like if the government wants to listen to you, they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Not
only that, but nearly every single television that you buy now, this is one of those things I don't really talk about, but nearly all of these new smart TVs have cameras in them. And, of course, the cameras are used by some of their, like Netflix and people like that to do targeted advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd say, man, that dude's hair looks terrible. He could use some freaking, he could use some of that new shampoo that we're advertising.
So, Justin, how many times has your television spied you jerking off in front of?
Well, actually, where I do it at my house, it's right by my TV, so.
So they know.
They know. But I'm not the professional. I mean, they ain't fucking tracking me. You know what I mean? But
go ahead.
But I do have a friend who works for Central Intelligence up here, and he said that the government tracking is for real.
Yeah, it is, but it's not something that they need to do a vaccine to pull off.
No.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So I think I feel pretty good because we've just debunked a conspiracy. There is no 5G in the vaccine. You heard it here first. Justin Pike says there is absolutely no 5G in the vaccine.
If there's 5G in the vaccine, I think people would be lining up for it because.
I think there is too, because I'm tired of paying for these cell phone devices.
Have that shit injected into your ass.
Yeah, if they can inject 5G into my ass, then maybe they can inject 6G and 7G and so on and so forth. Until the point
that'll
where
be
I
when
just, can.
That'll be when you get the booster.
Have y'all gotten your shots? Have we talked about this? Have y'all gotten your shots?
No.
No.
No, I have AIDS. I can't get anything like that.
Oh goodness. Well, I mean, it's a personal choice. Anybody that doesn't want to get it, like my mom and my brother didn't get it. I went down to North Carolina. I told them how I felt about it. But it's at the end of the day, it's a personal choice.
Right.
You're right. It was my personal choice to get AIDS. I didn't know the person that had AIDS had it, but I was in the same cell with them. I was going to be in jail for at least 3 hours, and the shower was warm.
It's weird. A lot of people are getting really offended by it. Like when you ask them and stuff like that. Like they don't like to repeat it. I don't know. You just see people that are really weird about it.
Well, yeah, everything has been politicized lately, and I guess if you happen to have any kind of personal opinion about anything, then suddenly you're a part of one camp, and that camp has, A, B, C, D, E, and F personality trait, and you have to have all of those, and everybody's immediately boxed in one way or the other just by simply making a sentence about anything these days. Oh, you're one of those. It's really strange. It's a strange time to be in. It's almost like a new form of McCarthyism, back in the 50s. Oh, you're a commie. I knew it. You're a commie because you believe in such and such, or you like to read such and such, or, it's just strange. It really is.
It's tough. It really is. It's the cancel culture. Anybody and everybody gets offended.
Well, and that is part of it, but I think it's been a very purposeful thing, because if you have everybody riled up over one particular topic, then you can almost kind of just slip anything in underneath of it, because this is the way we believe, because we're not like that. So, we're going to start selling this one product to you, because if you have this one product, you definitely don't stand for this thing over here. There's a really slippery slope, I think, that we go down with a lot of it. I always have to wonder when somebody wants me to feel one way or the other about something, what are you trying to sell me right now? And I think we as a society have lost a little bit of that. What is this person trying to sell me? Because they're automatically outraged because somebody told them to be outraged about something, instead of actually making their own informed opinion about it. Or better yet, not making an opinion at all and just minding your own fucking business.
Mm-hmm.
There's that.
It's just stuff. The country's just really, really, really divided. Because it's either you're one way or you're the other. You think there's no middleness.
Reality is so much different than there being an A choice and a B choice.
Absolutely, man. There are gray areas in every single thing. I mean, even with the breakfast cereal that I eat in the morning, there's a gray area everywhere. And personal freedoms and personal identities and things like that kind of come into play there. And I think we're really trying to deconstruct that for some reason or other. That sucks. A lot of think about a lot of the great individuals that we have witnessed over the years. Just people, just really odd people that march to their own tune. Einstein was one of them, probably a more famous example of people that were allowed to kind of flourish with their own ideas and the way they did things, and they wound up becoming brilliant people that contributed to society. And I wonder how much we're stifling that by getting caught up in these little petty bullshit arguments that we get caught up in these days. And social media has played a large part of that.
Oh, social media.
Let's be fair.
Yeah, social media. Social media's been bad. It's been the demise of a lot of things,
Well, but at the same time, there's no, and I, look, man, I'm going to tell you this is a personal anecdote. This actually happened to me last week. I've got a musician friend of mine here in town. And she is one of the most beautiful singers you've ever heard in your whole life. I've seen her play a handful of times. Really big fan. She actually went to the same high school that I did. And I've also, kind of had a little bit of a crush on her. She's super, super sweet girl. Well, she had posted something that another local musician had posted on their page. So I commented, I put the love react, the little heart react. And I've simply posted the lie. Where is it? And basically, we've all heard the old phrase, where's the lie? Or the phrase that the kids use these days, where's the lie? Which basically means that, I really truly agree with this statement or this meme or this whatever. She comes back in my DMs and is furious with me, thinking that I was accusing her of lying about something or this, that, and the other, and she defriended me.
Oh my God!
That. Oh yeah, she got nasty in her little message, and apparently she had some drama with some other person that we know, some mutual friend that we know, and apparently I'm friends with him, and this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. So I had to hit her up in my other account, get a friend of mine to hit her up, and make sure that she knew what I was talking about. But, there's so much that gets lost behind this screen. There's so much nuance that is important to human communication that is completely wadded up and thrown away when you get on social media. And, when you watch younger people, and I hate to sound like a curmudgeon here, but when you interact with younger people and you watch the way that they communicate, there's so much shorthand. It's like all this emotion and nuance is completely just gone out of it. And now, unless you're within earshot, you don't really understand what the person's trying to say with just a mere vocal inflection about I. It's strange. It really is. And, I don't know if anybody has read Orwell's 1984. That's what Winston's project was in 1984. The Big Brother, the ruling government there, had him working in the department of that I think that did the dictionary. And their goal was to try to trim as many words off every year to where they could eliminate their language to just a few syllables. And by doing that, everybody is compartmentalized in this box. They all think the same way. And when you utter that one phrase, it means a myriad of things, but nothing really too, out there because you're in this box and it won't mean anything outside of that box, if that makes any sense.
It does to me.
Yeah. So, and so I really think, and I don't know if this is a purposeful thing, maybe an unintended consequence, perhaps. I certainly don't think that for all of the vilification that's gone into Mark Zuckerberg, I don't think that what Facebook and social media as a whole has become was part of his original vision. Well, I think a lot of the ire with Mark Zuckerberg is the fact that he's just kind of rolled with it,
Well, Orwell definitely thought that it was going to be purposeful.
Yeah.
But anyway. Justin, you got any predictions this week?
I do. I actually got two. These are two really good ones. So y'all know, have y'all been following the whole saga with the Jake Paul and the Tyron Woodley boxing match?
A little bit, yeah. Jake Paul's kind of coming to my radar with his last match, which was a lot more impressive than I was expecting.
So he fought Ben Askren, who is actually best friends with the guy he's fighting this weekend, Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley's known for his striking. He was he was a 5-time welterweight, one of the best welterweights to ever come through. He's going to weigh in at about 170. Jake Paul's 190. But Jake Paul can fight, but it's going to be a great, great fight. Jake Paul is actually favored a little bit in Vegas, but my pipe prediction is that Tyron Woodley upsets Jake Paul, beats him in the boxing match, lay in the house on it. Tyron Woodley.
All right, and what's your second one?
Second one. So, did I tell y'all I got season tickets this year?
Yes,
Washington
you
football
did.
team?
You did.
So I was gonna sell them. I didn't really want to go. It's Saturday at 8:00. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens. This is the fact why I'm actually going to the game. The Baltimore Ravens have won 27 straight preseason games. 27 straight preseason games. That is going to end while I'm there witnessing it with my own eyes. The Washington football team will upset the Baltimore Ravens and end their 27-win preseason streak. It's over.
That's your Justin Pike locks of the week.
The Pike curse. The Pike curse.
Yep.
Justin Pike, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap.
You can help to sustain and grow this podcast by using our affiliate links to buy the things that you are probably going to purchase anyway. Check out our Amazon Associate store to find college football apparel to buy just in time for football season. Upgrade your TV package with Dish Network. Subscribe to Showtime to tap into one of the largest catalogs of movies of any premium movie source. Buy Smacking Off merchandise at our spread shop. Smacking Off the podcast thanks you in advance. And please remember to like and comment on our videos.